The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. You can get a Navy Federal auto loan and reward yourself with a brand new car. Applying is easy. You can do it on their mobile app, online, or by phone. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. Hello there, Team Never Quit Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. My name's Andrew, joined today by Melanie Luttrell for an amazing She Never Quit episode. Hey, Melanie, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I am good. Why don't you tell everybody who we've got on the show today?
Today we have Char Westfall. Char, her husband was one of 16 on the rescue helicopter during Operation Red Wing, Jacques Fontan. And Char has an incredible story of just resilience after losing her husband. I mean, obviously, that's an extremely painful experience that she went through. And her story that she's going to share is just how life took her after that, like what path that went down. Before she lost Jacques, she was extremely faithful to the Lord, and she just had this, great foundation. And then she felt like everything fell apart. Well, she'll tell that story herself. But the exciting thing out of all this is that Char has a book coming out where she shares her experience in great detail. So we'll let her share that, and we're excited to have her on. And we, especially because this is coming up on the 15th anniversary of Operation Red Wing.
That's going to be awesome. Well, let's do it like we do every week. We've got a Patreon question from one of our Patreons. And I think this one actually works out perfectly for today's episode. It's from Heather. Heather asks, she says, I'm a mother of 3 boys, and her youngest boy, who is 9, wants nothing more than to be a Navy SEAL. He's actually already training. Do you want or encourage your children to be in the military?
Do I?
Yeah. Do you want or encourage your children to be in the military?
That's a good question, because I actually have a son that is the appropriate age for that. And it's something we talk about quite a bit, because obviously he feels a little bit of pressure from, just it's a self-given pressure. We're not putting that pressure on him, but he feels like he should, because he's Marcus's stepson. But then there's times where, Marcus tells him all the time, you do not need to fill my shoes. I walk my shoes, you walk yours. You do you. And so with that, he's really focused on school. And I guess my thing is, in order to serve, you need to do it because it's your own passion. It's a fire burning inside you that you need to live this life of service in that way. And I'm not going to pressure my kids to do that. That needs to come from them. So no, if he wanted to do that, and if I saw it, strong, I would support him, but I don't see that. So I'm not. We'll see how Axe reacts in
a couple more years.
9 years. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. All right, Heather, thank you for asking your question. If you guys want exclusive access to the show, be able to get your questions answered, join us on Patreon. You get exclusive content, some amazing swag, and you can join us at patreon.com/teamneverquit. All right, guys, let's get to Char's episode.
Char, welcome to the She Never Quit version of the Team Never Quit podcast. We're so excited to have you on. First of all, I wanted to tell our listeners about us and how long we've known each other. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the first time we met was right before that gala in Baton Rouge, right?
Yes. I think I met you at the first, was it the big boot campaign gala?
Oh yeah. The first gala. Yes. So that would have been June of 2010. That was actually Marcus and I's first public date. And it was a little overwhelming.
To say the least, my goodness.
Yeah. an
in my life.
overwhelming
Here it is.
right? So Char and I bonded, and we've been friends ever since then. And I just adore her to death. And she's always just cheerful and happy. And she's just a great person. So I'm excited for you to share your story and for the listeners to get to know you, and tell us about your book and everything you've got going on.
Okay. Well, the feeling is definitely mutual. I am so excited that I got to know you and that we've been able to maintain our friendship ever since, because you are such a special and unique soul. And it's just a blessing to have you in my life. And I know a lot of people say that, but I genuinely mean that. So thank you for having me on today and for putting up with me for all these years. The craziness up and down. Yeah. So, but I'm super excited about this new adventure I embarked on. It started a couple years ago. I was encouraged to put up my quote unquote story down on paper. I'm remarried now. Let me just start with that. And my husband has always told me, you are a success story. Not everybody comes out of a tragedy the way you have. And I think that you could help other people, because one thing I learned is, after going through such a loss and at such a young age, I was only 29, that there's no blueprint, there's no book, there's no guidelines of how to do it. And I think, especially for me, there's times where I felt lost and am I doing this right? And you feel judged. And so he encouraged me to put it down on paper, and that's where it all began. And so it's the exciting news is that it's finally going to print and going to be, available within the next couple months. So I'm super excited about that.
But, it really is so exciting. Writing is a type of therapy, and, you do it for your own reasons or whatever, but when it can come to a point where you can share that with everybody, that's really cool.
Yeah, that's what people have told me. And like I said, it was just something that I was encouraged to do. And I said, okay, I'll do it. We'll see where it goes. And I didn't know if it would ever become a reality, and it has. Because like I said, I was 21 or 29 when Jacques was killed. And so at that age, when you get married got married in 2000, we had already been together since 96. And so you just think that you have your whole life ahead of you. Like, that's just, it's all planned out. You're done with the dating. You've met the man of your dreams, and you're going forward. And so when that all came crashing down in 2005 at 29 and didn't have our own kids yet, Jacques had been married before me when he was younger and had a daughter. And so I had a connection with her, but obviously, that's different than your own. And I just kind of felt lost and felt like I was never going to have a family and have my own kids ever again. And so when I started dating my now husband, Drew, there's just a lot of ups and downs with that. Just, is it too soon? When is it too soon to date? How do I date? Is he going to like me for me? Is he going to be able to handle my past and the emotion that comes with it? And there's a lot that I think many people don't think about when anybody is widowed, especially though at a younger age. I think there's a lot more to it than, just picking up and starting to date again or not. So putting it down on paper for other people to read, I think or what I'm hoping for is that it'll open their eyes and their minds if any of their family members or friends are to go through it.
That's a good point. Most people, you don't expect to lose your husband in your 20s. That's it. Even if they are in the military and we know their risks, it's just not something that you ever think about. And it is such a huge pressure on you, especially with Operation Red Wing and the publicity that it had. To honor your husband, can you do that and still move on and live your life. Like it's such a
Right.
weird line to walk. Can you tell us about like when you first met Drew and the struggles that you faced with that self battle of like, is it too soon? Can I do this still by honoring Jacques?
Yeah.
Do you mind going into that?
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, no, that is something that even a lot of girls ask me today. I mean, obviously, we're coming up on 15 years. So this has been a 15-year-long journey for me that I've learned a lot in the process. But when I started dating Drew, we were actually friends beforehand. And it literally just started as friendship. And he's slightly younger than me, 6 years. And so I was like, not even thinking of the dating or anything like that. And I think one of the things that helped us is that as we realized that there were starting to be feelings, we just continuously had conversations and communicated about it. Because unfortunately, I mean, it's silly to even think and say, but there is so much judgment on you. And you, I think, put a lot of pressure on yourself because you don't want, like you said, it's such a national tragedy and so well known and things like that. And being within the SEAL community for as long as I had been, you just kind of wonder, are his friends going to think it's too soon? Is he going to be good enough for everybody else? And was he going to be able to take what comes with me in my past and that? Because I mean, I said from the very beginning, like, yes, I've accepted that Jacques is gone. And he's not coming back, but he's not going away. Like, I'm not going to expect you to talk about him with me every day. And I'm not, there'll come days where I'm not crying about him every day, but he's still there. And that's just how it's going to be. And thankfully for me with Drew, he was just very strong with it from the very beginning. And whenever he did have a question or a little hiccup, about how he was feeling about something, we talked about it. And still now, I mean, obviously they're not anywhere near as, I don't even want to say like in our face as it was when we first started dating, but still things come up. I mean, that's just normal. And especially with the book, which is called A Beautiful Tragedy, because, it's kind of what it is. It's not, losing Jacques wasn't beautiful, but what I've been able to make of the situation and make my life from it, is what I feel is the beauty in it. But yeah, there's a lot to think about when you do start to date. For me, like I said, I wanted to find somebody that would allow me to still respect and honor Jacques and not just put him away on a shelf and act like that never happened. Because I think for some people, that's maybe what they think. Well, she didn't have kids, so what's the point in like continuing to honor him and remember him every day? Like, that's not fair. But Drew's, like I said, one of the ones that encouraged me. He's like, share your story, show other women that there's hope, show them that they're not alone, show them that, they're not the only ones that have these fears of rejection and judgment and just overall of starting to date again.
Yeah. Did you feel judgment when you started dating?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I mean, I unfortunately even lost like one of my best friends. I don't even know if they felt like it wasn't, that he wasn't good enough or that it was, I didn't leave enough time or whatever, but they just, well, he's not a SEAL or he's not this. And I'm like, well, I didn't marry Jacques because he was a SEAL. So, I'm not necessarily going to look for that again. And I had left Virginia Beach. I was back in Florida. So for me, I was looking for a guy that was going to love me for who I was and still allow me to honor Jacques and that he would honor Jacques in that life. And, but I definitely, some people were like, nope, they were together for 10 years. She should be single for 10 years. Or, why isn't she marrying somebody back or dating somebody within the military? And why did she move back to Florida? Did she, really not appreciate the teams and all that? And it had nothing to do with that. It was just kind of how it all played out at that time. And it's just what it was.
I don't know. I just have such a hard time with that because yes, we all want to honor our military and especially the guys that have paid the ultimate sacrifice, but we also need to lift the women up that they leave behind, no matter what their journey is. As long as we're lifting them up and they're doing good and they're doing something good for their life, why don't we embrace that as a community?
Yeah, that's just kind of what I struggled with. I think, and maybe hopefully it's a little different back then. I mean, I'm not up in Virginia or out in California where the majority of, the SEAL families are and where they're still experiencing the loss and, how that all plays out. But maybe it was just so new back then, and such something that they really hadn't seen and experienced that some people just didn't really know how to do it. I mean, I don't know, but that's just, ever since then, I just tell the girls, like, don't worry. I know it's hard, but you cannot worry about what other people are thinking of you. Like, they still have their husbands and you don't. So as long as you are taking care of your children and yourself, I mean, and you're still honoring your husband and not, going crazy and making bad decisions, I don't think you should be judged.
This episode of the podcast brought to you guys by Chili Sleep. As of last Friday, I'm officially a homeowner. It's so exciting. Finally not have to sleep on that RV mattress, and I'm living it up. I've got my Chili Sleep system unboxed, hooked up, and just revolutionizing the way I sleep. You guys know we love hearing remarkable stories about people who don't give up, who don't quit. But unfortunately, some of the greatest folks we know give up when it comes to getting good quality sleep. We're all busy trying to be our best, but we can't forget to fuel our body and brain with the power that only a great night's sleep can bring. And that's where Chili Sleep, today's sponsor, really shines. They're the pioneers of the original temperature-regulating mattress pad. Chili Sleep was actually scientifically engineered to mimic the natural temperature change your body demands to fall into a deep sleep. So if you're tossing and turning at night, you're lacking sleep, it's probably because your brain and body are needing that reset to get back into that natural rhythm. And the best way to do that is by prioritizing your sleep climate. If you didn't know, temperature-controlled sleep is vital for restoring testosterone levels, repairing muscle after a hard day's work, and improving cognitive function. So you're always going to start your day feeling sharp, feeling alert. So whether you're a hot or cold sleeper, and no matter what size your bed, Chili Sleep has a solution for you. You're going to fall asleep faster. You're going to wake up without that grogginess that comes from sleeping on a regular mattress. And if you're looking for just an extra layer of comfort, they also make the Chili Blanket, which is the only weighted blanket that can be paired with their sleep systems for the ultimate sweat-free sleep. Right now, Team Never Quit, you guys head over to chilisleep.com/TNQ. You're going to get Chili Sleep's best deal ever, exclusively available to you guys, our listeners, for only a limited time. That's Chili, CHILI, sleep.com/TNQ for your special offer. Remember, adversity doesn't care how you slept the night before, but Chili Sleep does. If you want to learn more about their dedicated military, healthcare, and first responders programs, you can visit chilisleep.com/heroes. One more time, guys, get the best deal ever from Chili Sleep by heading over to chilisleep.com/TNQ.
Right? I mean, there are some that go down that road of just like bad decision after bad decision, and there's enough judgment on them, which, I mean, everybody has their own battles. And unless you've walked in those shoes, nobody can judge that. I surely can't. I mean,
right.
I wasn't, like I've said multiple times, I was not married to Marcus when he was active. I don't know how any of this feels. But just knowing the community, I see so much judgment. It is really hard. As an outsider, like, oh gosh, that's brutal. But I do have to say, like, I love Drew. Yes, he's not a SEAL. He's nothing like that. But he is so funny, and he's so giving of his heart to you, and it shines when he's around you. And I love that. And I love that you've been able to move into a direction in your life where you've continued to honor Jacques. I mean, it's been 15 years and you still honor him every day. And it's a really beautiful thing to see. And I really admire you for doing that, and for at the same time holding a healthy marriage with kids, beautiful kids, and being able to continue your life. that changed so quickly at such a young age.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, he is great. He makes me laugh. I love how he's able to make other girls and widows, like, that we meet up with or, see and meet, that he's able to make them feel comfortable. And I think that just speaks volumes about his heart and how he genuinely has, accepted my past and is comfortable in who he is and in who we are as a married couple. And I love that he's not so threatened. I mean, fortunately, there's a lot of guys out there that are. And so I just admire that in him so much.
We can hear you now.
Did I lose you?
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. I didn't realize it. Sorry. Let me pause really quick. Andrew, am I supposed to read this?
No, you don't have to. I just wanted to share that with you. That's from one of our Patreon
I can't hear
people.
you.
Oh, am I muted? Apparently I'm muted too. Sorry.
Yeah.
So sorry. No, you don't have to.
I've never seen these little chat things. Sorry. I got like a little chat box. I'm like, what is this? By the way, Char, this is all recorded and we have an editor that cuts and snips. So this little part will be taken out.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
No, that's just from one of our Patreons.
No
So if you want to ask that later, you can.
Okay, I will.
Okay,
perfect. Cool. Sorry. I just needed to know what
No
I was doing. I've never done one of these Zoom interviews. Okay. Okay, back to that. Yeah, he does. Like, even every time I've been around him, he just lightens up the room, and he's very, very sweet and funny. And I love that you have found love again, because that's so hard. And it's so hard to find, like I said, someone that will not only love you. I mean, it's not like it's hard to love you. You're very lovable, but someone that will embrace who, your past, and embrace that Jacques will never be out of your heart. Basically, he is sharing your heart, and he's okay with that. And I love that. And I hope that for so many of our other friends that have lost their husbands that haven't found love again, I pray that they find a Drew, that they find someone that loves them and will be willing to share their heart.
Oh yes, absolutely. I know. I pray the same thing for them, because it is, I always say I was like lucky enough to find amazing love twice. And I just pray that for everyone who's gone through this, for sure.
That's awesome. So let's talk about the book. When you, or I guess like the guts of the book, can you share your experience of what happened on your side? Can you walk through June 28th, 2005?
Yes. I mean, as much as I can. I explain a little bit in the book as well, that those days are all kind of mixed together. And of course, the time change and the difference of when things happened are a little fuzzy for me. But I do recall being out. I was a private tutor for an autistic boy that I just loved his family. And so part of what I would do with him once a week or so would be to take him out in the community. And so I was out to dinner with him and his older brother, and happened to see a TV announcement over the TV from the news that a military helicopter was just shot down, and that there was possible casualties. And I literally remember seeing that and being like, oh, that's so sad and heartbreaking for those families. Like, I can't imagine what they're going to be going through. And then maybe 30 minutes to an hour later, I get a phone call from a friend, because there was a SEAL Team 10 live event that night. And they're like, hey, just to let you know, you weren't there and you missed it, but I don't know if you've heard, but before you do, there was some sort of incident, and they do know that SEAL Team 10 is involved. And so just wanted you to hear it from us before, people start calling and you're getting all these, misinformation. And I just immediately was like, I don't know, something in me just kind of, I don't want to say died, but I just felt like something just felt off. And so I dropped the kids off, and I remember calling my parents and them just saying, we don't know anything yet. You can't feel this way. You can't, get one of your girlfriends to come spend the night, and you'll get more information tomorrow. Just keep, praying and don't let yourself get too stressed out. And so I did. I had 2 friends come and spend the night, and they got up the next morning and had to leave for work. And the next couple hours, I guess maybe late morning, early afternoon, we got another phone call that said it was definitely SEAL Team 10, but they still didn't have any information, and to just hold tight. And as soon as they had more information, they would be contacting all of us. And I would hold a weekly dinner it started as all of us girls, with the deployment previous to this one, because all of our husbands were deployed at the same time. And now some of them had moved teams and jobs. And so anytime any of them were home, they were welcome to attend as well, because we all know that the time we had with them was few and far between. So as much as we loved each other and wanted to hang out, obviously, bring your husband, let's all have good times and make, more memories. So it was dinner night. And so people were like, we're still coming over. Let's do this. We'll all be together. And I can't remember at what point it was just becoming more apparent that a lot more information was coming, but really didn't know what yet. And I don't know, there probably was about 15, 20 people at my house. And I remember walking down the steps with one of my friend's husbands, who was a good friend of Jacques and I. There was quite a few couples that had gotten really close over the years. And we went down to get the charcoal to start the grill, and we heard car doors shut, and we turned. And, I would watch, I'd seen Black Hawk Down. I had seen, what was one of the movies? We Were Soldiers. Mel Gibson was in it. And how they would come to the door in uniform. And I always wondered, I wonder, what they do now. Well, that's exactly what they still do. They show up in uniforms. And I just remember just almost melting down in the parking lot, and my friend Heath going, Char, get upstairs. We're not doing this in the middle of a parking lot. Get upstairs to your condo, go. And so they came in and they sent everyone else outside except for two of our guy friends that were with me. And one of the things Jacques had requested before he left for this deployment was that somebody who knows me, if something were to happen to me, that somebody who knows me and him were to come and tell me. So I remember our friend Garza standing there. And at this point, they just knew the helicopter had gone down. They hadn't recovered anybody. And so they were considered missing in action. So I remember this so clearly. And I just looked at him and I'm like, okay, so there's still a chance. And he just couldn't even answer me. I was like, oh. So, I guess I said to him, you should never be here, and you shouldn't even be here. And I ran to the bathroom, and I was sick. And, I don't know how long it was before one of the guys, my friend Jason, was knocking on the door. He's like, you need to come out. They need to talk to you. You've got to come out of the bathroom. And I come out, and Gonzo's gone. And I was like, where'd he go? They're like, sorry, you kicked him out. And I was like, no, I didn't. I was just saying, you're never supposed to be at my house for this. No, that's what I meant. And they're like, well, you took it as get out of my house. And then I felt, I was like, oh no, the one of the people that Jacques wanted to be with me, and I kick him out. So I don't really remember what more was said that night. And then it was the next day that they were able to come back and confirm that they had lost all the guys on the helicopter. And so poor Gonzo had to come back for that. And so I'm trying to apologize to him. He's trying to please don't apologize. It was just a hot mess.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So thankfully though, it took him some years, but Gonzo and I now, if anybody knows him, talk about a man just with a personality, a heart bigger than anything you know. We were able to reconnect and are just super close friends. Drew and I see him at events, and it's always so good to be around him because he's just, I don't know, there's something about having somebody in your life like that knew Jacques and really truly knew him and helped you through all that, and just to be able to continue that friendship is awesome.
Let's take a second to thank one of our sponsors. Getting the care you need to stay healthy shouldn't be hard or expensive. Everyone should be able to afford their medications. I want you guys to check out GoodRx. They help me find the lowest price on my prescriptions every time. With GoodRx, you can instantly compare prices for your prescriptions at every pharmacy in your neighborhood, and you can save up to 80%. 80%, that's incredible. GoodRx is free, it's easy to use, and many times it is often cheaper than using your insurance, copay, or Medicare. With GoodRx, you're gonna be able to find discounts for your prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies like CVS, Kroger, Walgreens, Rite Aid, Vons, Walmart, and many more. GoodRx is the #1 most downloaded medical app, and millions of Americans use them to get affordable healthcare every single month. If you're looking to save money, if you got to pick up your seasonal allergy medicine, your asthma medicine, whatever you got, GoodRx seriously is the best way to save money doing it. You guys can start saving up to 80% on your prescriptions today. All you guys need to do is go to GoodRx.com/TNQ. That is GoodRx.com/TNQ. GoodRx.com/TNQ. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance. In 2020, GoodRx users received an average savings of over 70% of retail prices. If you're looking to save a little bit of money, which we always are, all of us, go check them out. GoodRx.com/TNQ.
But did anybody stay the night with you that night? The night of the dinner?
Yeah. I mean, I think, so I want to say, and I can't remember exactly if that was the 28th. It was at least a week before they could get all the guys home, and we're planning a memorial service in Virginia Beach for all the guys, like a group thing. But from that first night on, there was somebody with me, at least 2 to 3 people every night. My brother got there that night. He was he was a firefighter with the Air Force up in Dover, Delaware. So he immediately got in the car and drove to me. My parents had to wait till the next morning to get a flight out. My sister had just gotten married in April and had moved with her husband, who was in the Army, to Germany. So it took her another day or two to get there. But from the day I found out, I was never alone. There was all the husbands that were still home that weren't deployed would take turns spending the night. Like nobody, our group at that point, no one really had kids yet. There's maybe 1 or 2 that did. So it was easy for all of them to kind of take turns switching off who was staying with me, who was, I was never, ever alone. I don't think there was less than, 10 people at my house every day, which for me was helpful. Like, I know for some people, they're like, no, it's too chaos, I need them out. For me, I'm like, I need people around me. I need to I just need the distraction, I guess it was.
Right. My gosh. So for our listeners, I want to connect 2 dots. We had a guest on the show, and I'm not going to name her last name because she asked for us not to, but her name was Jen. And I think on our title, Andrew, did we just say Jen?
Yep.
Or did we say Gold Star Wife?
I think we said Gold Star Wife. Just Gold Star Wife,
okay.
Jen. Yeah.
Okay. And she was one of those that was at the dinner that night with you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And she ended up losing her husband years, what was it, 10 years later?
No, I was it was right before I got pregnant with my second child. So it had to have been 2011.
So it was, 6 years later.
6 years later. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, just for people that aren't in the military community, I mean, that is to have 2 friends that lose their husbands so young that we're both very intertwined with, it's just so hard. I feel like an outsider when I, look in and I'm just like, damn, that it hurts me to my core that even happens. I don't even know how to say it. I really admire y'all for the strength that you have to support each other, and that you stay so close, through these tragedies, and you continue to stay close through beautiful moments too. It's not just during bad times.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think it's so easy for people to drift apart, but there is something about a military community that is just really, unexplainable. I have made amazing friends since moving back to Florida after Jacques' death. But I still say, like, there's just no, I don't even know how to describe it. Family, community, connection, like going through deployments and that life together. It's just not realistic on the outside world. I mean, that's just not something, you don't go through things like that. So you can make great friends, very close, great relationships, but this community is just something you can't find anywhere else, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so obviously that week and the following weeks were really hard on you, as expected. What were some things that stood out to you that week that have stuck in your mind forever that were really powerful?
Oh, wow. I'd say the support of just the community. I mean, I don't know what it is. I think it's always been this way, but people just bring food. The restaurants were sending food. The way everyone rallied around us in that time and just wanting to help us in any way they could and make it as easy as possible. I mean, I know that the media was trying to reach me at one point, and a friend was told about it, and her husband was a police officer. And so he was making sure that there was some sort of presence in and around my neighborhood and house so that we wouldn't be bothered with that. I remember, on July 4th, we were still waiting to have the memorial service in Virginia Beach. And so we were all together and just still trying to make some memories of that. The memorial service that the command did, as hard as it was and somewhat of a blur, I think they did a truly great job. They did everything they could to honor the men and the families. And, we heard, things that were new to us, and some of the pictures that we saw were a little shocking. And, but I know that they were doing it all to honor the guys, and they really did everything they could. I mean, we had people calling us from overseas. I mean, I remember the CO, the commanding officer of SEAL Team 10, calling me, and I just recently saw them right before quarantine started. And I don't know how we got on the subject. I think we were talking about a beautiful tragedy and how it was kind of coming to fruition. And they said, "Hey, you do remember when Kent called you from Afghanistan, right?" And I was like, vaguely. And he goes, "Yeah," because I called, and I knew him and his wife fairly well. And he goes, so you don't remember what you asked me?" I said, "No." He goes, "You made me promise you that I would bring him home." And he was like, and I had to say yes, because I was like, how can I tell her no? And he goes, and I got off the phone with you, and before I could call any of the other wives, I called my wife, like almost in tears, being like, "I just made a promise that I don't know if I can keep, but I have to keep this." And so that's what, and thankfully he did. They got all the guys home, and I am so grateful for that as well. I think that was another thing, that they were so determined to bring their teammates and their friends and our loved ones home, like that just spoke volumes to me. One of the other things I remember is, so Gonzo and my brother got to meet Jacques and the guys in Dover, because that's where my brother was stationed. And so my brother's entire fire department, everybody came in, even if they were off for the day, and they lined the tarmac for the airplane and all the guys. And so I had those pictures somewhere, but I was just like, I just cannot believe all the people that maybe didn't even know us or know Jacques, but they were still just, the outpouring of love and support was nothing I had ever imagined, or even to this day I'm still like in awe and shock about it. It was just wonderful.
Oh man, I am super, super excited to finally be in my house. It means that the Fight Camp punching bag has finally made its way out of the cardboard box. It has made its way up. The water's filled in it. The mat is out. If you guys have ever wanted to bring boxing and kickboxing gym right into your house, Fight Camp, hands down, best thing to do. Full body workouts that you're actually going to look forward to in a freestanding punching bag that can take your hardest hits. The coolest thing about Fight Camp is their technology. I'll get to that in a second. Fight Camp is made for beginners to experienced boxers who want to box from home. And they've got several different paths you can follow that are going to teach you the skills along the way, paired with workouts that are going to reinforce your new learnings. There's also new content being released weekly that covers a range of easy to advanced. All right, what I'm excited about. It comes with all the gear you need to box at home. It got the free standing punching bag, the boxing gloves, the quick hand wraps, and their unique punch tracking sensors. They're going to challenge you to hit the minimum amount of punches each round. They're going to allow you to track your boxing and kickboxing journey so you can see all your progress you're making. And Fight Camp is one of the only home workouts that are going to be safe for the kiddos. That's because there are no heavy weights, no spinning wheels. And as soon as most people get their Fight Camp bag, the kids are going to be the first ones that are going to want to walk up and try it. You can learn from one of their 6 highly qualified trainers, all who have real fight experience, ranging from a pro MMA fighter, a mother of 2, to a kickboxing champion. I'm sure you're going to find someone who you resonate with, who you like their content. And it's just incredible because their new technology that tracks each punch you throw allows you to measure speed, volume, output, so you can follow your progress, push yourself competing on the community leaderboard, and most importantly, you can challenge yourself or even do you versus you on the new versus mode. I want you guys to check out Fight Camp because I love it. It really is an incredible and fun workout that you can do at your own house, on your own time, without the intimidation of maybe going to a boxing gym or a kickboxing gym. And it's definitely beats the normal workouts. You guys can pay for your Fight Camp over 24 months for less than the cost of a boxing gym, and you can get it right away. Plus, Fight Camp offers free shipping with a 30-day money-back guarantee. All you guys have to do is go to joinfightcamp.com/TNQP. They're even going to give you free shipping when you get Fight Camp, so go to joinfightcamp.com/TNQP. You're looking for a cool workout, you're looking to switch it up, head over to joinfightcamp.com/TNQP.
That's so awesome that they did that. And really, I mean, nothing like that had ever happened before. Since then, there's been large casualties, large amounts of people at the same time. But at that time, there was no protocol. There was nothing to base it off of.
Right.
So,
yeah, they had said that they hadn't experienced a loss this large since within the SEAL community since, I want to say they were saying like the Vietnam War.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's so heavy too. It's one of those things that we talk about now with, in a casual conversation, but it is still so heavy. And I want to be respectful to everybody involved in this because, my heart and so many others still, I don't know.
It's a lot.
It's obvious. It's a lot. And it's obviously it's something I live with every day. With Marcus being involved in it, it's like our life is committed to making sure nobody forgets these guys.
Right.
And it couldn't be done without, it couldn't be done without the wives. The wives all of y'all are so good about keeping their memory alive, even though life has moved on and it has taken different paths and everything, everyone still does such a great job, even though there's bickers and arguments, within the community and whatever, but it's like a family, everybody's going to have issues with different people and whatever, but there is still one common goal, and that's to honor these guys. And coming up on the 15th anniversary, it's so important to never forget and to keep on as long as we're living to keep honoring them.
Yeah, I agree. And I was going to say this to you, like, I know that you always say, you're like, I'm just on the outside and I just, I don't know what y'all feel, but in reality, no, you didn't experience the loss, but yes, you, like you said, you live with this every day. Like, you chose to love Marcus and love him for who he is. And I always tell people, I'm like, I can't imagine, I know what I live with, but I don't have the memories and the experience that he had over there. So you say we have strength. I think you have just as much as us, because the support you give to us wives, the support you give to him, to the community, the way you guys are always trying to make sure not just our guys, but anyone that is followed and friends that are constantly, to be remembered and constantly honored. Like, that takes a lot of strength and a lot of energy and a lot of love. And you all do that, like, selfishly, unconditionally, like, all the time. And that's why we just all love you guys so much.
Oh, well, thank you. We all have that one common goal, and our listeners feel it. And I really believe that the community of patriots that log on and listen to the show, and even just our social media platform, they all do such a good job at honoring the guys. It's beautiful, and I'm very thankful of everybody. So I just wanted to say that about the anniversary coming up, because it really does mean a lot when people, share their pictures or whatever it is, however they honor them, and just make sure that they're never forgotten.
We've got to take a second to thank one of the coolest sponsors of everything we've had. Listen, there's never been a better time to switch things up in life, maybe become a programmer. And with Codecademy, you can learn how to code on your own terms. Whether you're starting from scratch or looking to advance, Codecademy can help you reach your coding goals. Learning to code might be the easiest way you can change your career, especially when you learn with Codecademy. Simply put, Codecademy is the best way to learn to code online. They not only teach your job-ready coding skills, but also help you build unique projects for your portfolio. You can earn certificates and even prep for technical interviews. I was really stoked whenever this sponsor came across my desk, because Codecademy aligns a lot with what I do for a living. So I build websites, I have a marketing agency, and so we have a lot of programmers or web developers, and so it's nice for me to brush up on my skills so that I can not sound like an idiot when I'm talking to my team. But more importantly, I was able to get my little nephew into Codecademy so that he could start learning some skills even as a young guy. And it's really cool because you can learn and see your work all at the same time. You can get qualified for in-demand jobs in as little as 2 months. You can learn at your own pace, your own level. You can choose what you want to learn, whether it's building website to analyzing data and everything else you would want, no matter what your experience level. You're going to be writing real working code in minutes. So if you've ever thought about, I want to switch it up a little bit. I'm looking for a new career. I want to learn how to code. I wonder what that's like. You can learn coding languages including Python, HTML, CSS, SQL, JavaScript, and many more. And if you're not sure where to begin, Codecademy will point you in the right direction. You're going to get instant feedback. Your code is tested as soon as you submit it, so you always know if you're on the right track. It's an interactive platform that helps you learn by doing, and I think that is the best way to learn. So if you want to learn how to code, you're looking to try something new, join the millions of people learning to code with Codecademy and see where coding can take you. You're going to get 15% off your Codecademy Pro membership when you go to codecademy.com and use promo code TNQ. That's promo code TNQ at Codecademy to get 15% off Codecademy Pro. The best way to learn, CODECADEMY.com, promo code TNQ. Land your dream job in web development, programming, computer science, data science, and tons more when you join the community over at Codecademy. One more time, guys, use our promo code TNQ at codecademy.com.
But okay, so since after that, you struggled with, just life questions and all of that. Do you want to go into that a little bit?
Sure. I mean, I was raised in the church, raised Christian, loving God, knowing God. And I just remember just wanting to pull so far away from him, not because I didn't think he existed, but I was just angry. I was confused. And being, 29 and, in college, not everybody can stay on a super, super good path with, your faith and your devotions. And I would go to church, but I don't think in my college years and in my early 20s, I was really good at digging into the word and, finding out what it really meant to be a true Christian and love God and Jesus. And so I look back now and I kind of was like, yeah, that was so young in my faith, because I just kept thinking, like, what did I do that God thought that this was a lesson I needed to learn? And I was just angry. I'm like, I was still going to church, but I know that I would slack every once in a while, but I'm like, what did you want to teach me? Or what was I supposed to learn? Or what did I do wrong? And so it was a good year that I just kind of was just angry with him and confused. And like I said, I never completely turned away from him, but I wasn't seeking him anymore and seeking to be closer to him. Drew would drag me to church to get me out of the house, and he'd be like, just go, just listen, you don't have to sing. And so I honestly think that did help my heart to finally start softening, just hearing certain things. And it eventually helped me to seek counseling through the church and get some questions answered. And I remember one thing, and still people say it a lot, and it always kind of makes me cringe, but people are like, oh, well, God only gives you things because he thinks you're strong. Like, he gives you what you can handle. And I remember thinking, like, wow, so my other friends can't handle this, but Char can. So, out of everyone, let's have this happen to her husband because she can handle it. And I was like, that's one of the worst things. And they're like, well, that's in the Bible. And actually it's not. God says he's never going to leave you. Like, you will suffer. You will have hard times. You will experience things that you feel are going to break you. But his promises is that he's never going to leave you during it. And I definitely, as I started healing in my faith and my love, for him again, I saw how he was there carrying me through the darkest and hardest times. Even though I, at that time, couldn't see it or feel it. But once I, was able to start healing, I could look back and be like, oh my gosh, there's no way that would have happened if it wasn't God, helping me and loving me, regardless of me pushing him away. And so I definitely just always tell people, your faith in God, and you can be mad and you can have your moments. God wants to hear that from you. I'm mad at you. What's next? You can take it, throw it at him. And one of the biggest pieces of advice I got in counseling was, they're like, so, have you had your discussion with, Jacques about how angry you are at him? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not angry at him. I'm angry at God. He goes, you're not angry at Jacques? I'm like, why would I be? And they're like, oh, okay. But then he made me start thinking, and yes, I know that I was first, I was his wife. But what a lot of people not in the military you don't experience is that they have no choice but to put their job first most of the time. In their heart, it's their family, but they can't say no. They can't just take time off when they want. They can't not do a mission or do a training or do that. Like, that's just their job. And so in some ways, you know, he did pick this country and this career over me, but I would never have wanted him to not. I mean, he had the choice not to become a SEAL. When we started dating, he was getting out of the Navy. He was a rescue swimmer instructor. And I know that I couldn't have lived with myself, and I don't know what kind of relationship we actually would have had, or if it would have survived if I would have told him to give up his dream for me. And I always said, if you love somebody enough, I mean, you make it through, you figure it out. And that's what we did. And so he did make me realize that I was a little angry. Like, why did you choose that? Why did you choose such a dangerous career? Why did you choose and volunteer to get on that helicopter? You know, those were your guys. But I was like, you could have, you didn't have to. In my mind, you could have chosen to come home, but in reality, he couldn't. And so once I kind of put that all down on paper to him one time, it was such a weight off my heart and my shoulders. And then the anger just kind of started slipping away. So that was a good piece of advice.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you actually got counseling. I mean, so many people that are struggling through hard times try and take it all on themselves, and, you know, they battle with, you know, different things going on in their life, and they'll turn against friends, or they'll turn against God, or they'll turn to bad things to help. And it really says a lot about you that you took that time for yourself to, you know, to heal and to seek out advice and just comfort. And I really wish that more people would do that. I feel like it would help so many people, just whether it's through their church or even like a group of friends or something. You know, you have to have a support system.
Absolutely. I don't know how people make it through or even get to when they don't have it. And that's what I try to tell them. I'm like, you might not be ready at first. And first counselor you go to, you might not click, you might not hit it off, but that doesn't, I'm like, I just feel that it just even talks through certain things is so helpful and gives you clarity sometimes when you just don't even realize it.
So do you feel like when you wrote the book, it did help you? What was that experience like? Did you get mad even more writing it, or what were you feeling during that?
No, I honestly felt it was helpful. A good friend of mine, Myra, helped me as well. She conducted some interviews with certain family members that I was like, you know, I would like to know what they were thinking in their perspective, but I just couldn't bring myself to have those conversations with them. So she did. And so going back, reading things and adding and editing and has, I think even opened my mind and my heart to, yes, it was my husband and it was a tragic loss for me, but to know what other people were feeling like around me it was huge as well.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for everyone to be able to read this book. I mean, I think that especially people that have experienced loss, you know, just hearing other people's perspectives is helpful. What's your goal with the book coming out? Oh.
Okay. Am I unmuted now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that was my goal. I was hoping that it would sharing my experience and what I went through and what I felt helped me. I'm just hoping that it will help, you know, other people. And as hard as it is sometimes, you know, going back, especially, everything recently, just the editor and everybody who's, adding and the amount of times I've had to go back through and read it and edit it. Every little bit is helpful, because I think the more you can just keep addressing it and facing it is, just helps you heal a little more. I don't believe that you ever are over your grief. I think that you still live with it, but I think you have a choice in how you live with it every day. And my whole goal was always to honor Jacques. And I don't feel that if I'm not living my life to the fullest and being the best version of that I can be, and if that requires more counseling or, more this or more that, then to be that, to honor him and honor his memory, I owe that to him and myself and Drew and my kids. Like, they need the best version of me.
Right. That's so awesome. So when does it come out?
So A Beautiful Tragedy, we are aiming for pre-orders to start by the end of June. And then a book in hand, hopefully by like September.
That is so awesome. I'm so happy for you.
Definitely excited. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, as you've seen the process with Marcus, there's so much to it. They're like, okay, well, are you going to do signed copies? And like, do you want them to you? Are you going to ship them? Do we keep them here? I was like, I don't know. He goes, and if you're going to sign them, all these, it's going to take you a couple days. I'm like,
right.
Okay, how does this work?
Oh my gosh. That's hard. It's hard navigating all of that kind of stuff. It's overwhelming.
Yes.
For sure.
So we have if it helps, just like, what?
Oh, sorry. We have a question from, we have a platform called Patreon where our listeners can subscribe and have this kind of intimate access to the podcast, and they can ask questions directly to the guest. And we have a question from Todd directly to you, Char. And he says, thank you for all that you are currently doing for vets and for being a great role model. What advice can you give to some of us who are just getting started with vet supportive based nonprofits?
Oh, I think it's important to know what you want to help with. Like, what is your mission? What is your goal in helping them? Because there's so many great organizations and nonprofits out there that I've seen some foundations just be so all over the place and broad. So I think if you can narrow it down, or even just find a couple that you really love the work that they're already doing and find ways to raise money and raise awareness to help them. I don't think that we always need to recreate the wheel. So if we can find some organizations that we already love what they're doing and find a way to support and help them.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. And how can people follow you? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, sorry. How can people, and do you want people to follow you on social media?
Oh, are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, you were frozen for a few minutes or for a minute.
Oh, sorry. So how do you want people to follow you on social media? And if so, how can they find you?
Sure. That's a good question. I forgot how I can be found. I'm definitely on Instagram. I believe it's either under Char Westfall or Charissa Westfall. I should know that, but I don't. I do follow Team Never Quit, so you can find me that way as well. I know that Ballast Books, that's the publishing company that's helping me get my book published. They will have ways to get my book out that way. I do believe I'm Charissa Westfall on Facebook. So I don't use Fontan a lot. I use that. It's like Charissa Fontan. But when I remarried, honor my husband now. I took his name. So Westfall is the way to find me.
Okay, awesome. And we'll make sure that once that we kind of like publish the episode, we plug you on social media and everything too. So
Okay.
Yeah, and I looked, it is Char Westfall on Instagram.
perfect.
Okay.
So CHAR Westfall on Instagram. And do you think you're going to do any book signings?
Well, they told me that I should. So
Yeah.
it's kind of all up in the air right now because of the virus. I mean, you never know what's going to be open. But I know that a family friend here wants to host a big book signing and party release here in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I guess just based on whatever else comes about, we'll see from there. So, I don't plan on being any like New York Times bestseller. I'm just little old me down here in Florida.
Well, I know so many people would love to meet you and just get to hug you and get a signed book from you. And with the virus, maybe that means a virtual hug and you can do some, Zoom book signings or something. I know Dan Crenshaw did that. He did like an online FaceTime type book signing and it worked really well for him. So,
that's cool.
Maybe we can, with Team Never Quits platform, we can host something like that for you.
Okay, that'd be fun. All these new ways to do things.
I know. We're trying to be innovative and figure all this stuff out. My gosh, I've never done any kind of Zoom or anything like this before, so it's all new to me too.
Maybe when you go ahead.
I wanted to ask, just as we close this, because I didn't ask a ton of stuff about your book because I want people to read the book, not get all the information from the podcast. But what would you say? How can we continue to honor with the anniversary coming up? What would your advice be to the public, to us, to whatever, to continue to honor the guys every year during the anniversary?
This is one thing I have challenged some friends with and some people at golf tournaments and different things is if on social media you see a name of a fallen soldier, Marine, SEAL, whatever it is, I challenge you to look them up and read about them, get to know them, because then that name means more to you than you just seeing the name. So, on June 28th, when you see all 19 of the names listed, look them up, find out if they were married, learn about their kids, their families, just start to know them more personally, because then I think that helps them never die. They're not just a name then, they are actually a person to you. And you can share that with your children, your family, and it just keeps getting passed down.
That's awesome. Well, we will definitely do that and encourage people to do that. And we'll be praying for you during this anniversary, that you have continued peace and comfort and feel loved and all the good stuff.
Thank you. Same to you all. I know it's hard for Marcus during these times as well. So you guys are always in our prayers as well.
Thank you. Yeah, Marcus, a lot of people, they're like, oh, meet us at this event or whatever for the anniversary, but it's really a hard time for him. Still, I call it the blackout week. He just kind of goes dark. He doesn't get on social media. Sometimes our social media coordinator will post something on his behalf, but he does not get online during that week. He literally has a watch set to kind of every important time of that week, like what was happening at 1:00 and 3:00. And to me, it's like, gosh, do you have to make yourself relive that? But it's what he does. It's his way of never letting them go,
Right. So,
it's definitely it's the hardest week during my marriage and for us, because it's really sad for him, and it's hard to see him so sad. And we usually surround ourselves with his friends out at our ranch, and he might not even talk to anybody, but they're just here. And especially his brother and a couple of the people that were at his mom's, during that week. And it's very, very hard on our family, as I know it is on you and all the other ladies that were involved and the kids. And anyway, many prayers out for the 15th anniversary. And I love you, and I hope that this book is successful and that people are really drawn to it and drawn to your message and can find some sort of peace or comfort from reading it.
Thank you. I love you too. I miss you.
I miss you too. One of these days we'll be able to hug each other again.
I can't wait.
All right. Well, have a good one. We'll
Thank
talk
you.
soon.
Thanks for having me. Mwah.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow. So I can't wait for her book to come out. She's such an incredible lady.
Yeah, she's so spunky and fun and bubbly and always has a smile on her face no matter what the situation is. And I just love her personality.
Yeah, she seemed amazing. And then, just like listening to the way that she was able to transition into her new marriage, like I always think about that, like as a guy, like it would be highly intimidating to take the shoes of a Navy SEAL. Like that would be extremely challenging. And so for him to be, selfless enough to be able to still honor Jacques, as well as, Jacques. I'll make sure I say that. Jacques.
Two different people.
Yes, Jacques. Sorry.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And her husband really is so great. There's nothing that phases him. He's super supportive. And I've met him at several different functions, and he's just like her, always happy, always smiling, always making people laugh and feeling good and comfortable. And it is very intimidating to take, to fill that role as a husband after you've been with like the most alpha type of man that there is.
Yeah.
But Drew does a really good job, and there's so many other husbands that do that well too. So I'm glad that there's guys out there that don't mind sharing their woman's heart with another man. I mean, and that really that's huge.
Yeah, for sure.
We've interviewed other widows in the past that also their husbands don't mind them, continuing to honor. And I think that's awesome. I love that. And I hope other widows that have lost their husbands that have not remarried can really find that kind of love. So I just think it's really important that we say these names. And like Char said, we can look, if you don't recognize a name, not every single person was portrayed in the movie Lone Survivor. That would be a 2-day movie to do that. So it is important for people just to stop what they're doing and just research the names themselves and get to know these guys and just remember them in your hearts. So I will repeat the names. Michael Murphy from Patchogue, New York. Matthew Axelson from Cupertino, California. Shane Patton from Boulder City, Nevada. Dan Healy from New Hampshire. James Suh from Deerfield Beach, Florida. Danny Dietz of Littleton, Colorado. Jacques Fontan from New Orleans. Eric Christensen from San Diego. Jeffrey Lucas from Oregon. Michael McGreevy from Portville, New York. Jeffrey Taylor from Midway, West Virginia. Seamus Gore from Danville, Ohio. Corey Goodnature from Clarks Grove, Minnesota. Kip Jacoby of Pompano Beach, Florida, Marcus Morales from Shelbyville, Indiana, Stephen Reich from Washington Depot, Connecticut, Michael Russell from Stafford, Virginia, Chris Schirkenbach from Jacksonville, Florida, and James Ponder from Franklin, Tennessee. The reason I wanted to say the towns that they're originally from is a lot of them have memorials in those towns. And if you live near there, go by and take a picture, post it on social media, use your hashtags, and get other people to, to get involved and just make it more real to you. A lot of people go by Michael Murphy's memorial, and that's so awesome. And it keeps his memory alive, or Danny Dietz in Colorado. And we've gotten to see a lot of different buildings named after these guys and different things. Texas Roadhouse does an awesome memorial in so many of their restaurants to the guys of Operation Red Wing. In Littleton, Colorado, they not only have a statue memorial, but the MEPS building was named after Danny Dietz. There's a highway named after Danny Dietz. In Cupertino, there's an amazing memorial of acts, and actually James says in that memorial as well. It's beautiful. It's in a park. It's really well done. There's a ship named after Michael Murphy, a destroyer. There's so many really cool memorials of these guys, and I just encourage you to look those up and honor their families by never forgetting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you guys for jumping in and listening to our episodes every week. It's amazing that you guys support us, and we love doing this. If you guys want to be the first ones to know when we drop new episodes, we drop them every single Wednesday. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you get your favorite podcast. That's where you can find us. If you didn't know this, we have a speakers bureau, teamneverquit.com/speakers. We have some amazing people. We got John Teagan, Goggins, Todd DeGhetto, Taya Kyle, Chad Fleming, Justin Legg, Clint Bruce, Johnny Jones, Jason Redman, Brian Offit. The list just goes on and on. If you guys didn't know about that, we do have a speakers bureau. If you want to, if you have an event coming up, whether it's virtual or in person, and you want to have an amazing speaker to share their story, you should check out teamneverquit.com/speakers and get hooked up with one of our great speakers. They're amazing. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Melanie, thank you. Until next time. See you later.